This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today. What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for October 24th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Feel Good Friday edition of the podcast. A chilly Feel Good Friday, but a Feel Good Friday nonetheless. We made it. The weekend is here. All right, so this weekend, lots going on. Let's start with the Eagles. No A.J. Brown for the second day in a row at practice. No Cam Jurgens. No Azeez Ojulari. I guess we'll see what happens today, but Eagles could be without those three, which makes it even more imperative that the offensive line get things together, and hopefully maybe we can establish the run a little bit against the Giants. Jacorian Bennett did practice in full yesterday. His practice window I mentioned yesterday was open. So hopefully that translates to him playing, just to give the secondary some depth. Maybe even he might start. BG was another full participant in practice yesterday. I feel it's trending, and it looks as though he's going to end up playing. How much, how effectively, I don't know, but I don't think there's any way that he does not play. Kyle and I talked about that on the Brotherly Birds breakdown last night. That is up and available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube, so go check that out. But I just don't think, especially the Giants game, a Kelly Green game, there's no way that he is not going to play in this game. And I mean, I, for one, am looking forward to it. But one of the things we talked about last night was, and I talked about it in the three keys to the game, and I keep referring to the first Giants game as the first Clubber Lang fight in Rocky 3, where Rocky just was not prepared, kind of went in. You had he thought he was hot shit, was doing all the training and thing like that. Mick had his heart attack and just got his butt kicked, got punched in the mouth repeatedly in that fight, just like the Eagles did against the Giants. However, we all know how the second fight with Clubber Lang played out. So I really feel that in this in this game, the Eagles need to come out and dictate the fight. They need to punch the Giants in the mouth. They need to not wait for Scattaboo and Jackson Dart and all whatever, the hype that surrounding them. Can't wait and let them punch and then counter punch. It goes back to the old Mike Tyson's punch out. Doc Lewis, dodge his punch and counter punch. No. In this game, the Eagles need to be the one dictating. They need to come out like Mike Tyson throwing those uppercuts. They need to come out like Rocky in Rocky 3. You ain't so bad. You ain't so tough. It just needs to come out and just get a knockout early, because this team, I feel, is on the ropes, especially after the way they lost to the Broncos. Come out, punch this team in the mouth, use the emotion of the crowd, use the emotion of BG being back, dig down deep inside, and remember the embarrassment that you felt after the Giants game, the first one, and use that and just punch this team in the mouth. Because listen, I'm not taking anything away from those two guys, but if you take a deeper look at the numbers, they're not that good. They are rookies still. So go out there. You're the better team. You are the more talented team. Go out there, punch them in the mouth, and let's get a W, head into the bye week 6-2. But for more takes on the Eagles game, we had a good time last night talking about the Eagles. Go check out the Brotherly Birds breakdown, available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. But like I said, to me, that's the key to the game. You just got to go out and you dictate the style of play. You ain't so bad. You ain't so tough. Come on now. All right, Flyers lose to the Ottawa Senators yesterday, 2-1. They jumped out early, 29 seconds in, when Tyson Forrester scored a goal, and then couldn't get much else going offensively. Dan Vladar was pretty solid in goal. Just one of those tough games the Flyers lost. But you'll have this with a young team. I mean, they were looking for their third straight, so you'll take it. It was very hard-hitting and entertaining game. I thought I was only kind of half paying attention to it in the background. But they just couldn't get anything going offensively. They're back at it this weekend against the Islanders at home tomorrow night. What else is going on this weekend? Well, Sixers home opener is tomorrow night versus the Hornets. The good old afternoon, evening doubleheader at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. But I'm excited for this Sixers home opener. I really, really am. I'm going down to the Eagles game Sunday, so it's not going to be a super late night. Hopefully it's not too cold. Sit on the back porch, watch a little Sixers action. But they're at home against the Hornets home opener. Get excited. My Temple Owls go on the road this weekend. They go out to Tulsa. They are 6.5-point favorites, looking for their 5th win of the season. And don't look now. The Temple Owls are only 2 games from being bowl eligible. Never thought I'd be saying that this season, but KC Killer has done a great job. Villanova, the number 12 Wildcats, are home against Albany this weekend for a little FCS action. And, of course, the Union play their first playoff game this weekend, Sunday night down at Subaru Park, 5:55 against the Chicago Sky. Looking forward to that. A little bit of housekeeping. Be sure to check me out on the Clashing Conferences member podcast. That drops tomorrow. Had a lot of fun with that, talking a variety of sports, even some college basketball or college football. So check that out wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. Follow me on social media at Philly Jimbo. Going to be very active on social media this weekend. I told you I'm going to try to not drink too much before the game and do some live tweeting. So at Philly Jimbo on all social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont. Continue to spread the word. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, review, all that other good stuff as we try to grow the channel and the network. But be sure to check out that Clashing Conferences episode. It was a good one. I had a lot of fun doing that.
It's time for Fridays with AI, where we ask AI to rewrite Philly sports history. Every Friday, only on This Day in Philly Sports History.
That's right. It is time for Fridays with AI. And just talked about the Union having their first playoff matchup. And truthfully, mathematically, the numbers say that the Union have the best shot to bring home the next title for Philadelphia. So I thought, let's have a little bit of fun on a Feel Good Friday. Fridays with AI is brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. Lots of new Sixers shirts available. I talked about my aunt wanting the Grateful Dead one. There's one which, if you talked about the different puns and things like that Philly Goat does, 76ers on a shirt. Go check it out. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. But I figured, why not ask AI to predict who's going to win the next title in honor of the Union kicking off their MLS playoffs this weekend? Well, I'm going to go in chronological order here, but it's not going to be the Union. For next title in Philly, according to AI, is going to be in 2026, and it's going to be your team, your town, your 76ers. Now, look, I know, AI is not me. I legitimately ask AI. I use a variety of the different search engines, so don't think this is just me. But here's what AI had to say about the Sixers. They come together this year, learn to play as a team, and finally get out of the second round. Joe and Paul George accept and defer to the younger guys, helps them to stay healthy, and they make a surprise run in the Eastern Conference. They get in about around the 4-5 seed because they're healthy. Take advantage of a down east. and then take some advantages of some injuries out west. They didn't go into detail about who's going to get injured. That would be kind of freaky if they did. But take advantage of an injury-plagued Western Conference and shock the NBA world and bring home the title. I like AI. But what about that Union team? Well, it's not this year. It's not next year. But 2027, the Union finally win their first MLS Cup. They're going to be near the top of the MLS standings next year and in 2026. But it's 2027 that they finally break through and win the MLS Cup. And then the following year, get excited for this. The Phillies will win the World Series. They leverage the contracts of Bryce Harper and Trey Turner, the vets, and the infusion of the young talent. It does say AI is very high on Andrew Painter, Justin Crawford, and Aiden Miller. They all step up and kind of form that core that we saw with the Chase Utley, Cole Hamels, Ryan Howard, Jimmy Rollins teams. And they are going to be a formidable team. It's going to be a couple down years as they get their sea legs underneath them, but it's going to be a fun time in Philadelphia in 2028. What about the Eagles? Well, they don't win it this year, but for the 2028 regular season, that would be Super Bowl 63. The Eagles bounce back in a big way. Jalen Hurts cements his legacy. Jordan Davis, Cooper DeJean, Jalen Carter, and Quinyon Mitchell anchor what becomes a stellar defense. Jalen does Jalen things and cements his legacy, though. And AI actually called this of this year through the 2028 season kind of a reload. Didn't say rebuild, sort of a reload. And I like that. Reloading instead of a complete and total rebuild. But 2029, Super Bowl 63, the Eagles will be parading down Broad Street. And then finally, what about the Flyers? Well, AI says your patience will pay off in 2033. Finally, after years of rebuilding and getting things sort of right and cleaning up the mess of their predecessors, Keith Jones and Danny Briere get the Flyers right. Porter Martone and Matvey Mishkov become kind of like Malkin and Crosby for the Penguins. Flyers finally break through, but they are poised to win multiple titles, AI says. So what are your thoughts? Truthfully, I think the most far-fetched one is the Sixers. But if we see a ton of injuries, you don't know what's happening with this whole gambling scandal. Who knows? Maybe the Sixers are able to take advantage of it, stay healthy, and shock the world. But be sure to let me know your thoughts on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531. Get that, anything else Philly sports related off of your chest. But that was Fridays with AI, brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. Use that promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. Whether you're coaching Little League, crushing your fantasy league, or just rolling up to a bachelor party like a Philly legend, Lotwin Custom Hype Chains bring the energy. Fully customizable, totally unforgettable, and guaranteed to turn you into the MVP of the moment. Great for teams, groomsmen, or anyone who wants to show off with some serious swagger. Go to Lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD, and get 10% off your own custom hype chain. Lotwin, let's get hyped together. All right, October 24th. And first, we're going to go back to 1959. And on this day in 1959, the Philadelphia Warriors opened the season with a 118-109 win over the New York Knicks. Making his NBA debut that day was a rookie named Wilt Chamberlain. Played all 48 minutes in this game, scored 43 points, brought down 28 boards, and had 1 assist. The 43 points was the most in an NBA debut. And if you were a loyal listener, you know that was yesterday's trivia question. Who had the most points in their NBA debut? And it was Wilt Chamberlain in 1959 when he scored 43 points for the Philadelphia Warriors against the New York Knicks. VJ Edgecombe is third on that list. Looking forward to him tomorrow. But back to this game, Paul Arizin and Guy Rogers each had 19. And that season for the Warriors didn't end in a title, but the hopes were high in Philly for this team. They would lose in the Eastern Division Finals to the Boston Celtics. But that does lead to today's trivia question. A lot of people tend to forget that the Warriors were the first NBA team in Philadelphia. A lot of people tend to forget that a lot of Wilt's early success and early numbers, even his 100-point game, did not happen with the Sixers. It happened while he was playing for the Philadelphia Warriors. But while in Philadelphia, how many NBA titles did the Warriors win? Discord channel is the first link in the description. Hit me up on any of my social media or the Back to the Future voice and text line. That number again is 267-495-8531. Shout out to my boy Scott, who might be slowly coming back to the Sixers. Left a nice little text message about turning it on, and the game looked a little bit different than when he stopped watching 2 years ago. So Scott, there's a seat right next to me here on the Sixers bandwagon. It's all yours, buddy. It's all yours. But how many championships did the Warriors win while in Philadelphia? All right, fast forward to 1965. Doing a lot of way back today. But on this day in 1965, the Eagles lose to the Steelers 20-14 at Franklin Field, losing despite outgaining the Steelers 388-132. Turnovers were the name of the game, though. The Eagles turned the ball over 5 times, including 4 interceptions among 2 different quarterbacks. Why am I mentioning this? Well, it was the last time that the Steelers beat the Eagles in Philly. They're 0-11 since. And if you're keeping score at home, the Eagles are 4-6 in Pittsburgh, including a 47-13 win later in that 1965 season. But the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia happened on this day in 1965. And then let's go all the way up to 2021. On this day, the Eagles lose to the Raiders 33-22 in their first trip ever to Las Vegas and Allegiant Stadium. Jalen Hurts threw for 236 yards, 2 touchdowns to Kenny Gainwell and Jalen Reagor. It was the lone bright spot as Derek Carr carved up the Eagles secondary for 323 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the big story about this game is after the game and leading up to the next week's game, this is when things shifted for this current Eagles team. And you can mark it to this week. It would have happened at some point over the weekend. That's why I'm bringing it up today. But after this Raiders game, during one of his press conferences during the week, Nick Sirianni was asked about the success, and they were 2-5 at the time. And went on his long speech about how, yes, they want to win, but right now we're planting roots, and the culture and what they're trying to do is like a flower. And he talked about watering and fertilizing the roots and just get that firm foundation. All of that led to the Eagles turning it around, going 9-8 that year, making the playoffs before losing to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. But we all know since then, the Eagles have been red hot, minus the little blip in 2023 when they had the collapse. But all of that started after this Raiders loss, when Nick Sirianni talked about growing the roots and watering the plant and fertilizing the plant. It takes all of us. Little did we know, everybody made fun of him at the time, but little did we know the players all bought into it. And here we are going for our 3rd Super Bowl. That happened on this day in 2021. And then finally today, our 2025 Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame inductee spotlight is Lynne Carter, who is a boxing judge. She is getting one of the Legacy of Excellence Award, the 3rd one in this year's class. She's a Philly native, graduated from Doherty, learned the sport of boxing at Joe Frazier's gym in North Philly. Still pains me every time I drive by there and see that it's just right now old abandoned furniture store. Was able to get in there at one point, but I digress. This is about Lynne Carter. She trained under Carol Polis, who was the first female boxing judge. But Lynn became the first African-American female boxing judge. She was licensed in New Jersey under Jersey Joe Walcott. She judged her first fight in 1982, had a 43-year career, judged over 1,000 fights worldwide, including title bouts across all weight classes. She judged Mike Tyson fights, Lennox Lewis fights, Roy Jones Jr. fights, fellow 2025 inductee Dwight Muhammad Kawhi fights, and of course, a current Philadelphia Sports Hall of Famer Bernard Hopkins fights. She's in the New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame, the Pennsylvania Boxing Hall of Fame, the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame, and on November 6th, now at Live Casino, she takes her spot among the great Philadelphia area athletes and contributors. So Lynne Carter, legacy of excellence, first African-American female boxing judge, gets her name finally called into the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. It's one of the people I'm excited to interact and meet with when we go down there. But Lynne Carter, today we salute you. On this day in 2021, Eagles lose to the Raiders, but during the week after the game, Nick Sirianni gave his famous flower speech, which led to what we see today. 1965, last time the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Eagles in Philadelphia. And then in 1959, Philadelphia Warriors opened the season with a 118-109 win over the Knicks. Wilt Chamberlain scoring 43 points in his NBA debut, a record that still stands. VJ Edgecombe made a good run at it the other night, though. We will have more on the Union, the Eagles, the Sixers, and the Flyers on Monday when we rewind the weekend. Be sure to let me know the trivia question. How many titles did the Warriors win in Philly? And then let me know your thoughts on Fridays with AI. Can the Sixers shock the world this year? AI seems to think so, but a lot of things need to, it has to be the perfect storm, AI did say. So AI is not totally crazy. But maybe AI has the same affinity for the Sixers as I do. But we'll see. And I promise, I'm not AI. I do put it into either ChatGPT, Gemini. Sometimes I do a combination of all of them, Copilot. Trust me, there's a lot, probably way too much research that goes into Fridays with AI. But be sure to check out the Brotherly Birds breakdown, available now. Tomorrow, I will be on the Clashing Conferences members pod. Be sure to check that out. It's a good, fun listen, especially if you have early soccer games like I do. It's a good listen. It's clean, so you can listen with the kids in the car as well. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for October 24th, 2025. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a feel-good Friday. Go Birds, go Flyers, go Sixers, go Union. And then we'll be back on Monday when we rewind the weekend. But until then, I will see you when I see you.